Tonight, the O'Keefe Media Group dropping a political bombshell that's rocking Washington to its core. James O'Keefe's undercover team infiltrated the DNC, capturing explosive admissions about Kamala Harris that the Democrats never wanted you to hear. But that's just the beginning. We've also got Joe Rogan weighing in on the media's sudden love affair with the VP. So stay tuned for our final thought that'll have you questioning everything you thought you knew about the 2024 race, because O'Keefe's expose changes everything. Now, folks, before we dive deeper into this political powder keg, let me tell you about a device that's causing as much buzz as our story tonight. Just like the DNC is trying to conserve Kamala's political capital, this gadget right here, it actually will help you conserve energy, because energy prices are skyrocketing faster than Kamala's approval ratings. This little wonder plugs right into your wall and starts slashing your power bills. It's like having a secret weapon against the greedy utility companies. Don't let your hard-earned money vanish like the Democrats' 2024 hopes. Head to don'twastepower.com now for a 60-day risk-free trial and 65% off. That's don'twastepower.com. Order now before they are gone. Now, in a stunning revelation brought to you by the O'Keefe Media Group, the Democrat National Committee's carefully crafted image of Kamala Harris is crumbling before our eyes. James O'Keefe, known for his hard-hitting undercover journalism, he's once again pulled back the curtain on the political elite, exposing the truth they desperately want to hide. Now, O'Keefe's team infiltrated a DNC staffer, and they captured damning footage of Joyce DeCere, a high-ranking compliance manager. Now, his candid admissions about the vice president are nothing short of explosive. Now, let's take a look at some of this undercover footage now.
I like Kamala Harris, but I don't think she'd win this year.
Meet Joyce DeCere, he, him, the compliance manager to the DNC.
What's your official title?
Compliance manager. My specific job, like the end-all be-all of my job, is reporting to the government how much the DNC raised and where it spent its money.
Saying that she doesn't have any accomplishments to speak of.
She's weirdly unpopular. She doesn't have any accomplishments to speak of because she's vice president.
Joyce DeCere revealed how the DNC gains donations and what tactics they use, including just telling donors what they want them to hear.
When I was doing finance, like fundraising, we just call it finance and politics, you kind of tell a donor what they want to hear.
Which is what?
Whatever they want to hear.
DeCere admits to the OMG citizen journalist American Swiper, you kind of tell a donor just what they want to hear.
You just put on a performance for them, a little show, right?
You just put on a performance for them, a little show, right?
So basically we're just feeding into their fantasy.
Yeah. Which, you ever met a rich person? They want their fantasy to be, fed into.
So we just take their money and we smile and nod our head, but we don't really take their opinions into our strategy.
100%.
So some donors are holding back on writing the checks because they think that the campaign's not doing well. Why would they think that?
I don't know, a lot of people think we should attack Trump more.
We should attack Trump more.
Yeah.
Do you feel like our strategy has always been just take their money and tell them what they want to hear?
Yeah, that's politics.
There's always been an artifice that pervades our politics in this country, with people never willing to say out loud what the truth is. And the political marketing industry, masquerading as journalists, participate in that lie. But every once in a while, we manage to catch them being honest. And when we do, they tell you the truth, what they really think, what they really believe, what they won't say in public for reasons that are themselves important. And they tell you things like this.
And what's your official title?
Compliance manager.
You're the only person.
Yeah. I don't manage anyone.
I mean, you manage compliance. That's huge, right? I mean, there's a lot of legality involved, I imagine.
I can't say I manage the compliance department because I don't. There's no department to manage. I manage me.
And remind me what compliance means again?
It's pretty much an accounting function. It's kind of like where accounting and legal meet. So
you report?
Yeah, my specific job, the end-all be-all of my job, is reporting to the government how much the DNC raised and where it spent its money. And Joe Biden's campaign right now, because they don't have anyone doing that for them. So
Also, you're doing it for both the DNC and the Biden campaign.
yeah.
Meet Joyce DeSears,
Okay.
he, him, the compliance manager to the DNC.
All right, so you heard it straight from the horse's mouth, folks. I don't think Kamala Harris would win this year. And he admits, adding that Harris doesn't have any accomplishments to speak of. This is coming from within the DNC itself, not some opposing political faction. But it gets worse. He goes on to reveal the DNC's shameful tactics with donors. According to him, it's all smoke and mirrors. You just put on a performance for them, a little show. That's what he says, implying the DNC is feeding donors with fantasies of empty promises. And when O'Keefe attempted to get comments from Kristen Hetherington, the CFO of the DNC, she abruptly hung up the phone, of course, because the truth is just too much for them to handle. But the story doesn't end there. In an apparent attempt to intimidate and silence O'Keefe's team, the undercover journalist who recorded DeSears received a threatening postcard at her home, complete with racial undertones. This is how far they will go to keep the truth from you, America. Now let's shift gears to another voice that's calling out the sudden suspicious hype around Kamala Harris. I'm talking about Joe Rogan. He's never one to shy away from hard truths. He's questioning the media's abrupt about-face on the vice president. Let's take a look at what he had to say on his podcast.
It all bothers me, the fragility of the human mind. You know, that so everybody forever was like, Kamala Harris is the worst vice president. She's the least popular vice president of all time. And then in a moment in time, all of a sudden she's our solution. She's our hero. Everybody's with her. All these social media posts about her. Try Googling a negative story on her. You won't find one.
So,
ta-da!
Okay, you've got me started, Officer Harris. So, they've been doing this live for years. So, in 2019, our pal Tulsi absolutely nuked her in that second debate. And
Right.
if you looked at charts at the time, she's kind of, Officer Harris is like doing okay. First debate, she comes out, Joe Biden, you're a racist. The Democrats were looking for an alternative to Bernie Sanders that wasn't Biden. She starts going up in the polls, right? Second debate comes out. Tulsi, being a good Hawaiian, knows how to roast the pig. Just completely slams her. Not only that, she has no counterpunch. She goes on Anderson Cooper and she's like, well, I'm a top tier candidate, so of course people are going to take shots at me. That's her answer. She immediately starts going down in the polls. It's that day. You can see it on the chart I have on my Twitter. All the articles at the time that did an autopsy on Kamala Harris's failed campaign didn't mention Tulsi once.
Yeah.
It was BBC, LA Times, Reuters, New Yorker. A guy from the Washington Post just did a piece looking back on her campaign, didn't mention Tulsi either.
Isn't that wild?
They completely pretend it didn't happen.
Well, it just shows you that what they're looking for is not what they say they're looking for.
Yes.
Because she is a strong woman. She is a person who served overseas twice. She in a medical unit, so she got to see people blown up by the war. She was a congresswoman for 8 years.
Yeah.
She is a person of color. She's everything you want. All those things you want.
But
And yet you don't want her.
Because she's not for war.
Yes.
'Cause
Well,
she's not
she's
for the
also
mission.
just not willing to play ball. There's a game that's being played. And if you're like, hey, you're not supposed to fucking move the ball. Like, oh, look at this bitch over here. Like, get out of here. You're going to fuck up our game. It's not real democracy. It's controlled parties.
Controlled parties. Rogan, he is like Ronald Reagan. Rogan hits the nail on the head. How did Harris go from being the worst VP of all time to a celebrated hero overnight? It's a question that demands answers, but Rogan doesn't stop there, pointing out the hypocrisy in the Democrat Party's treatment of candidates like Tulsi Gabbard. Despite ticking all the boxes the Democrats claim to value, strong woman of color, military service, congressional experience, Gabbard is snubbed because she doesn't toe the party line. Now, this orchestrated shift in Harris's public image reeks of desperation. It's clear the Democrat establishment is in panic mode, realizing their chosen candidate lacks the substance and popularity to secure victory in 2024. So, my friends, the pieces are all falling into place. It's revealing a coordinated effort to manipulate public perception from the DNC's internal doubts and deceptive donor practices. Don't forget what's happening with Act Blue. And of course, also the media's sudden glowing coverage of Harris. We're witnessing a political machine in crisis mode. Now, to be clear, it's not just about a candidate or election. It's really about the integrity of our political system and the respect for the American voters' intelligence. The DNC, the mainstream media, they seem to believe they can just rewrite reality overnight, banking on the hope that you won't notice or you won't care. But thanks to the brave work of journalists like James O'Keefe and voices like Joe Rogan, the truth is coming to light. So it's up to us, the American people, to decide what we do with this information. Remember what I told you? Share this video. Text it to a friend. Post it in a Facebook group. That is what we need to do. So if you got value from this report, tap subscribe. It's time for my final thought. So America, this is not just about Kamala Harris or the DNC. It's about our right to truth in our republic. When political insiders admit to empty promises and media manipulation, it's a direct assault on our democratic processes. We're witnessing a dangerous game of smoke and mirrors where public opinion is being engineered, not earned. So it's up to us, the vigilant citizens, to demand transparency and hold our leaders accountable. Our votes, our voices, our future, it is time that we take them back.